A stunning lineup of drivers and cars forms a brand new championship for 2014. Born from FIA GT, the Blancpain Sprint Series runs alongside Blancpain Endurance to form Blancpain GT. Whilst the Blancpain Endurance Series runs races from 3 to 24 hours in duration, Blancpain Sprint Series sees an all-action format during the weekend, 2 one-hour sprint races, and we're guaranteed to see some fantastic racing in 2014. Reigning champion team WRT Audi return this season. Enzo Ede and René Rast in the Audi R8, with the sister car driven by reigning GT champion Laurens Vanthoor. Cesar Ramos replaces long-term partner Ortelli, but Vanthoor is still confident he can take the championship.
Of course, the goal is to win again. We were champion last year, and the only goal can be to defend the title. But for me, there's only the 2 things which count, is to work hard and to make the less possible mistakes. And me and Stefan, we're not together anymore. I have a new teammate, Cesar Ramos, which is still quite new to the Audi and to the team, but I'm really sure he has a big potential.
Lisowski and Abril join forces at Belgian Audi Club to take part in the Silver Cup for up-and-coming drivers, while Gregory Gilbert partners the other half of last year's championship-winning pair, Stefan Ortelli, in the G-Drive racing machine.
Yeah, we need to just focus on what we know with this car. So it's not going to take long, you know. It's still, for me, WRT, which are running the cars. I know them very well. We have new guys, obviously, in the team. Everybody has to work together better. But I don't think it will take long. We will be there very soon.
Phoenix Racing return with former GT1 world champions Marcus Winkelhock and Marc Basseng, but in separate cars. Basseng partners Brit Alessandro Latifi, while Nicky Meyer-Melnhof is with Winkelhock.
I think it's a quite strong year this year. Many good driver lineups, many good teams, many good cars. I think I'm in a really strong car. I have a good teammate, good team. From that point of view, I think we have all chances to win the championship.
BMW Team Brazil are back in force, with multiple stock car champion Caca Bueno sharing the first car with Sergio Jimenez, while Matthias Stump is with former Formula 1 driver Nelson Piquet Jr.
I still don't know who are going to be the strong drivers or strong teams, you know. I'm sure the ones that won last year, the Audis, are going to be strong. Nogaro circuit, I've never raced here in my whole European career. It's the first time I'm racing over here, so it's a pretty tight track, pretty difficult, you know. A lot of corners, they are, you know, you have to use a lot of curb, but there's not a lot of runoff areas, so it's a pretty challenging track.
Royal Motorsport runs a car in the Silver Cup for Fuminelli and Colombo, but the star of the show is racing hero and Paralympic gold medalist Alex Zanardi.
Right now, I would love to finish my weekend as well as I did last time I was here to race, where I finished second, and I was very disappointed because that was the end of a long season where finishing second made me lose the championship to Christian Fittipaldi in Formula 3000. But I'm talking about 1991. There were still dinosaurs going around in the bushes of the circuit. But it's kind of encouraging that I know that I still hold the lap record of Nogaro, and yeah, that's good. And I'm sure it's going to be tough for anybody in the field to, you know, to readjust that lap time.
German manufacturers Audi and BMW will be met by a strong challenge from Grassner Racing. The team has a pair of Lamborghini Gallardos, Dutch GT specialist Jeroen Blekemolen with Harry Prochik, and Sasha Halleck teams up with returning GT race winner Thomas Enger.
We've made a few improvements for 2013, which is the same car as this year, 2014. And obviously, I believe this car should be even better, in better condition. It should suit this type of track with slow corners, with braking into those corners. This car with engine in the middle of the car should be the one to beat.
The Blancpain Racing Lamborghini is shared by rapid pro driver Peter Cox and amateur driver Mark Hayek. Hayek is relishing the challenge of competing against all the pros on the grid.
Really try to compete in the overall class, so what is really hard against all the pro teams. hoping to get top 15 overall results. Maybe better.
McLaren are represented by the Biotech squad. The 12-seat GT3s are in the hands of Daniel Lloyd and Sten Pentus, while Onidi joins the hugely respected Giorgio Pantano, who recognises the challenge ahead.
Well, for sure, Stefan Ortelli with his teammate will be the tough one to beat, because I know the Audi car are very strong, but also him is very good driver, very strong driver. I believe in this series there are most of the drivers are on the field, are there to win and be on the top.
Mercedes are represented by HTP Motorsport. Dusseldorp and Afaseniev share one SLS, whilst Max Gutz and reigning Blancpain Endurance Series champion driver Maxi Buch attempt to do the double in the Sprint Series.
I'm looking for a double win maybe this year. That's why we're here, to compete with the best and try to win also. And I think we have a good package to maybe realize that.
Fortec runs 2 SLSs, one for Hetherington and Ibrahim, and one for Toril and Bastian.
The car is very big and very huge, so we are not as good as the Audis and Lamborghini here on this track because of the very tight corners. This is not perfect for Mercedes, but we are working on that. Maybe we can improve the car a little bit, and then we can as good as the Lamborghini in the moment.
Ferrari are also here. Philippe Salaquada is driving with yet another XF1 driver, Andrea Montemini, in the 458 Italia.
The competition this year will be very tough because of the Audi, Mercedes and the McLaren. And the team are very, very strong, so we need to be perfect each session.
Here we are then at Nogaro, the Paul Armagnac circuit in the southwest of France, and the 2014 Blancpain Sprint Series starts here. Round 1 of 7, of course, part of the overall Blancpain GT Series, alongside the Blancpain Endurance Series, which we've already had one round of. We have had, over the last few days, some lovely weather down here in the southwest of France. For free practice 1, free practice 2, qualifying, it was sunshine and temperatures, high 30s, track temperature. But as you can see, today it has closed in. It hasn't stopped raining since we woke up this morning, only 18 degrees C track temperature. And it's going to be very, very tricky indeed for those drivers who have yet to venture out on the circuit in wet conditions. Traditional Coup de Pack race meeting this weekend. We have the qualifying race today, and then we have the main race tomorrow. My name is Andrew Coley, and alongside me is John Watson. John, talk us through this fantastic track.
Well, traditional Easter weekend race meeting here at Nogaro, 3.6 kilometres in length, 14 corners, the majority of which are slowish corners, but they have that slightly unique aspect of being semi-banked on the way in, so it's not so much about getting into the corners, getting the traction off, and in particular through that first sector, the blue sector on screen, then the long back straight up to about 250 kilometres per hour, and then final sector 3 again, quite tight through turns 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, then the penultimate corner, turn 14, onto start, finish straight.
Here is the starting grid. Bleekemolen and Van Thor on the front row, the Lamborghini and the Audi R8. Rast and Cox, another one of those Audis and another Lamborghini. It is a bit of an Audi fest at the front of the grid, as you can see. Winkelhock and Ortelli. And then Basseng and Gotts, the first of Mercedes SLS AMGs on the grid. 2 BMW Z4s, Nelson Piquet Jr., Cacabueno, Dusseldorp and Montemini. Ferrari there lining up. Row 6, Abril and Zanardi. Sandro Zanardi, of course, returning to racing. Lots to tell you about his hand controls later on. Colombo and Halleck, 15th and 16th. Bastian and Pantano. And just the one car at the back of the grid, that's Daniel Lloyd in the McLaren 12C GT3. Last couple of corners then, before we get this race underway. We've already heard John talking about the grip online and offline. The car's going to be bunched up together. The left-hander is in favour of Bleekemolen on the inside, but it goes directly into a right, so will Van Thor be able to get the jump on him on the brakes? Away and on the gas, and immediately Bleekemolen, great start, moves across the block up the inside. That's René Rast having a look down the inside of Lawrence Van Thor. Oh, somebody running wide in one of the yellow BMWs. That's one of the Team Brazil's. Piquet running wide. No moments so far. Audi out wide. That's the G-Drive Audi, I think, who's run wide. But everybody makes it through turns 1 and 2 safely, John.
Yeah, very busy, but of course everybody really needs to be quite cautious at this stage. Just a quick glimpse of on board with Alex Zanardi and the BMWs, the two Brazilian BMWs side by side as they make their way through the double turn 4, then into 5. Key corner here, bit of contact, bit of carbon fibre being damaged, and that is Alex Zanardi.
That's Zanardi, yeah. Zanardi off wide and on the grass, on board with him. Oh, so slippery trying to get it back on, John.
The biggest problem Alex Zanardi has got is the throttle is actually a separate ring behind the steering wheel. So the natural sense of feel and grip that you get through your fingers and hands is different to that through your feet. He uses his legs to basically just brake, and there's prosthetics for braking, and everything else is done on the steering wheel by his hands.
Now, we've seen some significant changes up at the front. I think Blancpain has been mugged and has dropped back down into 3rd position. Must have happened in turn 2, I think, whilst we were having a little look towards the rear end of the field. Zanardi has dropped a long way off the back with that trip onto the grass. Sideways again out on the curbs, very, very slippery in the wet. Everybody's still getting a feel for it. A brave look up the inside there.
Andrea Montimini in the Ferrari trying to squeeze his way down into turn 11. Very difficult to get a pass unless you're absolutely alongside. But just traditional opening lap of any event where everybody's using every bit of racetrack they can to position themselves and try and force their way through. But as they come across the Lawrence Van Voor, well, they're comfortable 1.5 second lead.
Indeed, and Blancpain has dropped down. It's Rast who is in 2nd. So we see a pass there. Lamborghini up the inside of the SLS.
I think that was Montimini, and the Ferrari just squeezes through.
Yeah, Afasaniev dropping back.
Getting past the Mercedes-Benz, and that was turn 12. And Andrea Montimini, very, very experienced driver. Another Ford driver coming through from single-seaters into GT racing. Has a huge amount of experience at all sorts. Part of the McLaren that tear off on the windscreen is already flapping. So it's distraction for a driver. Probably he won't be able to see that in reality. It's out of his eye line. Nevertheless, it may be flapping on the roof as we follow the tail of the field with Montimini in the Ferrari. And he's up to 11th place. Steph Dusseldorp, who's the driver in the Mercedes, who's just lost that. He'll be disappointed. The Mercedes, really, in these conditions, it's a slightly softer car, which actually should help it. But it is physically a large car, and particularly around this part of the racetrack. It's not the most nimble, and that's probably where the Audi and others maybe gain an advantage on the Mercedes.
Stefano Colombo there in the BMW, being passed by, that's Bastian, I think, in the 2nd of the 4 Tech cars. SLS, as we said yesterday, unfortunately, a big shunt for one of those cars. Oh,
the two McLarens side by side. And in fact, this is Pantano, Giorgio Pantano, and the sister car. He's going to try and make the cutback. He's not close enough. Let's look again at Giorgio Pantano as he makes this move, coming out of turn 9, gets alongside the sister car in position, just like buying property. It's all about location, location, location. Oh, a little dive down the inside, and can it stick? Well, the BMW's got the outside line again, coming into turn 4, all the long way round. The Mercedes, well, just sneaked that position.
It's Colombo in the BMW and Bastian in the SLS. Blancpain, an interesting one. Oh, and another look at the end of the straight, up the inside. Maybe I thought that was Bueno and Winkelhock, but it's not. That's Piquet Jr.
Yeah, Nelson Piquet Jr. He's having a major go at the Audi ahead. So Nelson Piquet, there's the onboard shot looking at Nelson Piquet. As Jerome Blancpain is trying to find a way past René Rast, he's closed right up to the rear of that 2nd place Audi.
Now, Blancpain has not raced here at Nogaro before, which is why yesterday's pole position was extremely impressive, and maybe that's why it's taken him a few laps, John, to find his way around here in the wet. You know, first time racing here, he's had 3 days of great weather, goes off for pole position, and unfortunately got mugged on the first lap.
Yeah, and I think that was just being cautious and knowing that the two Audis that got ahead of him are driven by drivers who've driven these cars in these conditions for year upon year here. Dives up the inside, turn 12. Oh, very
nearly
close.
Contact between the two. Looked like the Audi struggle for traction there. I think he's going to come back up the inside. It is Blancpain and makes the pass stick. Great job. Here's
look
another
again.
look. Yeah, sideways on the exit here, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, he gets up the inside, Rast taking the wide line, and then suddenly the Audi just clipped that little bit of concrete on the outside, gave the momentum to the Lamborghini. Jerome Blancpain on the inside into turn 13. He can now slow René Rast down, but he takes the line he wants for the final turn onto pit straight.
Fantastic to see a few different overtaking opportunities opening up with the weather that we've got here at Nogaro. You mentioned he's 9.5 down on Van Thor. He was closing the gap, Bleekemolen on Rast, around a second a lap before he caught up with him up the inside. SLS 63 is Bastian.
Yeah, they're having a good old battle. The second of the two McLarens, that's driven by Bastian, and the Mercedes as they go through these technical parts of the corner onto the main straight.
Quick replay, talk us through this.
Yeah, it enters into turn 4. This is the long. So the Mercedes just puts its nose up the inside, takes track position. The McLaren feels it can still make its way around the outside, but it's going to be difficult. And eventually the Mercedes just gets the advantage. If you watch this battle going on again, there's Max Goetz and Stefano Telli battling away. And into turn 10, dives down the inside. So the Mercedes gets through. The McLaren, looked
very wide, didn't it? McLaren was very, very wide.
Well,
this is before the pit window.
Yes, the pit window hasn't opened yet.
Puncture. It looks like it's another
PK.
set of wets.
No.
Another set of wets out, so it looks like a puncture. PK called.
Yeah, that's a very, very big setback for Nelson Piquet Jr.
Front right.
But where did that come from? Was that due to contact? Was it due to maybe aggressive use of the curb? Whatever it is, it means he's got to put on one wet weather tyre on the right front, and then he's got to wait until the pit window opens, which is going to be in 2.5 minutes' time. And Hayek pulls out. That's easy defence now. Looks to go down the inside.
Double dummy. I think he's going to get it done.
He has.
Did Lloyd run wide there?
Well, maybe he saw the...
Oh, sideways from Lloyd, all the way through that right-hander as well.
Yeah, I think they saw the Lamborghini coming, so we saw Hayek, Sasha Hayek, stuck his nose in the inside, did the right thing, gave the Lamborghini working room, and of course in doing so has given up the position.
Well, here's a replay of it. It was a double dummy out towards the left and then up the inside, and a fantastic job. And through the long right-hander, you can see Lloyd sideways there in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, it's just a question of whether the car has been set up for wet weather conditions or whether they've just kept it as it is in the hope that it may dry out. As I've said, the McLaren is a very, very competitive car, but it's not maybe the easiest of cars for the lesser experienced drivers. Colombo gets up alongside the McLaren again, losing ground. So the McLaren really struggle.
Here we go then, first of our pit stops of the Sprint Series season. 2 mechanics, 1 nut gun, that's all they're allowed. They have to do all the work on the car. There are other people allowed to do things like clean the screen. That's designed to make sure that it takes long enough for the drivers to do the driver change. And that's why there's no penalty for Zanardi not to have a driver change. It would take longer to change the 4 wheels than it would to do the driver change anyway. So no penalty for Zanardi not having to have a driver change. Good clean stop there. 4 cars in the pits at the moment. Near the limiter there. This is Cacabueno in for his pit stop. Watch the drivers. Very fast change there. Let's assist each other with the harnesses.
Fumble from the team as the gunmen get out of the way. So the Brazilians have been getting accustomed to the temperature, which is very un-Brazilian here today in Nogaro. René Rast running in 3rd place, so he's dived into the pit lane. So the 3rd place, Audi Rast, going to be handed over to young Belgian driver Enzo Eid, who's been elevated up into the WRT team this season. So there's been a mix and a match of the drivers who raced WRT and who raced independent Audi teams last year. So Eid coming into the WRT, Ortelli, and Winkelhock going to Phoenix Racing in the case of Winkelhock, and G-Drive racing for Stefano Ortelli. So Van Thor is in, and he had just under 2 minutes remaining before he decided to make the pit stop. So Laurens Van Thor will come in, hand the car over to Sergio Ramos, as this will be the first time the Lamborghini's actually led, but it's coming into the... Well, he may technically lead, depends just where he crosses the start-finish line and the traffic behind. So Bleekemolen comes in, and he's still credited with being in 2nd place.
Van Thor's in as well, so just 2 cars left to pit now. Winkelhock in the number 6 and in the number 85, Saniev. No, we're not sure on that. Dusseldorf is listed as being the driver of the number 85 car, but he's driver number 1. In theory, he should be the 2nd driver to go in, so that's the only one we're querying, but as long as we get the driver change done, we'll be fine. You can see the mechanics chucking the wheels at their colleagues. It's only the two who are allowed that physical contact with the car. They want a nice fast stop, John.
Yeah, I'm watching Jerome Blake-Mullen sort of heaving. There's something in the... What are they doing? Come on, come on, come on, get it going.
Oh, problem, it's a problem.
Harry Project getting in, and suddenly the car's...
Blake-Mullen's still not moving. The 28 Lamborghini, a problem for Blake-Mullen. Sorry, Project in the car, Blake-Mullen outside, shouting at him. They've got it away finally. I wonder what happened there. Is that going to be enough to drop them further back and maybe into the clutches of third place?
I don't know. I mean, you could see that Blake-Mullen was shoving Harry Project by the head to get him into the car. Whether that caused an issue with maybe getting the belts attached, but we think that may just about keep the Lamborghini ahead of what would have been the third place Audi that was the René Rast car, now driven by Enzo Ede. So, well, you can just see the battle there. That's where the Enzo Ede Audi is. That's where the Lamborghini is with Harry Project. Remember, Ede has been on track. He knows what the conditions are like. Harry Project's now going to have to go defensive. The best time for Enzo Ede to make a move is now. Flashes the lights, going to look down the inside. Will he be brave? No, he's not.
Ede very brave, in fact, isn't he? On his outlap to take the brakes that late. Hopefully he's got it stopped enough. Holds his line, good job.
So all the stress that Harry Project had to deal with from the team, as if he didn't need to know that he wasn't getting the car rolling, but Enzo Ede again up into turn.
He's just got an extra lap's experience in these conditions, hasn't he, John? So, you know, he's going to be all over him on this first lap. The BMW lets them go.
And that sort of works to the favour of Harry Project. So still on his outlap, having made that pit stop. Slow getaway, maybe a problem finding the right switch, the right button, whichever. Enzo Ede now using the opportunity to try and put pressure with that little bit of with the back end of the Audi. Steps out in turn 13, and looks like there maybe is that little bit more rain beginning to fall on the camera lens as the lead car, Cesar Ramos, waiting to see the advantage he has over Harry Project, which was about 13 seconds at the point of the pit stops.
This then the battle for the second two steps on the podium. The first step is very much out of reach now. After all the pit stops have settled, the gap has gone up to 23.9.
Yeah, it's Enzo Ede on the flasher on the steering column to say, I'm behind you. Again, Project goes defensive, comes back slightly. And again, you can just see on the straight, there's the merest hint of the track beginning to show a drying line, but it's the level of grip. It's a scummy surface now. The wet weather tyre really has got no water to clear. Let's look again and see what Enzo Ede did. And there's Project slightly wrong.
He went defensive, didn't he? Went defensive and took too much speed into the inside.
There we see Ede again up the inside into turn 2.
Over the
contact.
contact.
And around, yeah.
Contact. I think he went over the curbs on the inside, John, and that's in the gravel. The 28 car from second place in the gravel. Project is surely not going to be able to recover the car from there. That is a disaster from where they were. And when we have a look and see, John.
Well, after Enzo Ede, it was inevitable. He wasn't up alongside the Lamborghini. He had his left front wheel probably just about alongside the right rear of the Lamborghini. And I would not be surprised if we see a penalty for Enzo Ede for an avoidable incident. He tried to force the issue, but he wasn't sufficiently far alongside the Lamborghini, and the contact that has resulted. There is the result, the Lamborghini getting towed out, and we wait to see whether that will be an incident between car 2 and 28 under investigation. Didn't take very long.
No.
So the car, I mean, just dragging gravel. Hate to see it, and what a sad way to see what was actually an interesting race.
It was a good fight, wasn't it?
A lot of pressure being asserted by Enzo Ede on the Lamborghini, Harry Project, and sad it ends up in the gravel trap as it did.
Now that's going to promote into third place Nicky Meyer-Meinhof in the Phoenix Racing Audi R8. I think we're going to be looking at an Audi 123. Back on the track, but with outside assistance, John?
Well, I mean, I think if the car will be allowed back on the track, it was in the dangerous. You could see the problem, of course, that the front splitter, the intakes, the air intakes will be filled with gravel.
We saw Hayek there in the Blancpain Lamborghini, has been passed by the Lukoil-backed SLS. Here's the move, the SLS, lights flashing, pulls out the slipstream, and this was fairly simple, John.
Yeah, this is textbook stuff. I mean, the Lambo acknowledges that there's not very much is going to happen, and just lets the Mercedes sail up the inside. There's Cacabueno all over the back of
and up the inside.
Got him this time in turn 5. Can he consolidate it? Yes, he can.
Great job. Fantastic move. Zanardi and teammate back together again, on track at least. In fact, they are fighting for position, the two of them. 15th.
And he's got it. Alex Zanardi has, again, good track position, got up the inside, took control as they came through that sort of turn 11. It's a bit of a dogleg before turn 11, then into turn 12. So Alex Zanardi, that'll see him up into 15th position. And you know, considering his first race in BMW in the Blancpain Sprint in one of the trickiest of conditions, using a throttle located behind the steering wheel.
Oh, 21 off. That is Matthias Stumpf, who we saw just a moment ago having that fight. Ramos in car number 1. Just a couple of turns to go. He's going to be crossing the finish line, taking the checkered flag. Great job by him and Van Thor. Through the right and the left-hander, onto the start-finish straight. There's the checkered flag. It's a win then for Cesar Ramos and Lawrence Van Thor in the first round of Blancpain Sprint Series. Great job by them. Basically unchallenged from the second turn onwards. Ede crosses the line in second place, and in third, Nicky Meyer-Melnhof. Right behind him, Jimenez in the BMW, so couldn't get the job done. Finished just a couple of seconds back. 17.6 second gap for the winner. Cesar Ramos really backed it off, wound it in on that last lap. Fantastic job by them. We never really quite saw what happened to Bleekemolen in the first turn. Seemed to go well. He got into turn 1 in the lead, but by the time he came out of turn 3 and 4 onto the back straight. So let's have a chat with Lawrence Van Thor.
Congratulations, Laurent. You and Cesar, you made it look really very easy.
Yeah, we're starting to be a great romantic couple, I think. The car was very good. The end, the pressures were a bit too high and to back off a bit, but yeah, the pace was just great. And I owe to my engineer and the team, and then Cesar just finished the job in a perfect way. And hope tomorrow can be a bit like that. It doesn't have to be fully, so already a bit, and will be a good job.
You took your chances into turn 1 on the opening lap alongside Jeroen Bleekemolen. Do you think his lack of knowledge and experience in the Lamborghini really played to your strengths?
Well, if I remember right, he never drove here in the rain before, and to be very honest, yesterday evening when I was in my bed, I was thinking how corner 2 has to be the place, and yeah, I kind of tried and it worked out, so it was very good, and it helped us because we got immediately free and we could make a gap, and it made the race a bit easier.
Well, a bit of insight there into the mind of a racing driver. Lawrence Van Thor last night lying in bed thinking about where he might be able to make the pass today. Let's have a chat with Cesar Ramos.
Well done, Cesar. Nice to see the victory. Yeah. Number 1.
Yeah, it's my first race in the championship, and in the winning car with the winning teammate. So I think it's the right receipt, and we did a good job together. The team did a wonderful job, WRT. The car was amazing, thanks to Audi to give a car like this for us. And yeah, it's amazing to begin the championship with a win, the year with a win. Let's keep it up and try to do it again tomorrow.
So there is the result then. It's a 1-2-3 for Audi with Team WRT in the first 2 places at Phoenix Racing. Ramos and Van Thor a faultless drive. Ede and Rast, that one mistake from Ede, and we'll see what happens with that. Meyer-Melnhof and Winkelhock, and then Jimenez and Bueno. Great drive from them from 9th on the grid. Gregory Gilbert and Stefan Ortelli, last year's one half of last year's championship partnership, is in 5th. Book and Gotts in 6th. And then as we get further down the order, Eng and Halleck, Latifa Basseng, Onidi and Pantano round out the top 12. Great first win of the season for Lawrence Van Thor and Cesar Ramos. Here we are at Nogaro, getting ready for the main race of the weekend for Blancpain Sprint Series 2014. It's the first weekend of action. It's the traditional Coup de Pack meeting here in the southwest of France at the Circuit Paul Armagnac. All the way through the weekend, or certainly in the run-up to the weekend, we had this kind of weather, blue skies and sunshine. We were then treated to a very wet race yesterday. But today, the sunshine has come back literally just in time for this race. You see track temperatures are now up to the low 20s, so much better than this morning's warm-up when it was very, very cold indeed. Out on the formation lap, just one run around the 3.63 kilometre Nogaro circuit before they'll blast over the start-finish line down into the left-handed turn 1 and the tighter right-handed turn 2 to kick off this hour-long race. There are some of those front runners who are at the back of the grid. Really looking forward to seeing them fight their way through. Let's have a look at the lineup. It's Ramos and Meyer Melnhof on the front row with a pair of Audi R8s. Jimenez takes the BMW Z4 and Gilbert in another R8 on row 2. Buk in the SLS and Afaseniev in another SLS alongside. Lizowski, Audi R8, Salaquada in the Ferrari 458. Row 5, Eng in the Gallardo, Latif in the Audi R8 LMS. As we get further down, you'll see some of those star names at the back of the grid. There's Zanardi, went off on lap 1 yesterday, starts 14th. Wet conditions, of course, he got it back on the grass, but it was a long way back. There's PK and Stumpf taking it off the start, had the puncture, and Eid, who was disqualified in yesterday's race. Coming around the last few corners on the formation lap. The left-hander to go. Cesar Ramos on the inside. Nicky Meyer Melnhof on the outside. Lights change. And away we go. It looks like there's been a change already, John, at the front.
Yeah, something went wrong. The grid wasn't probably formed as Cacabueno's jumped the lead, gotten ahead of the Nicky Meyer Melnhof car. So what happened to Cesar Ramos, we do not know. We have seen in the past the lead car misjudge its approach to the line, but it is the Brazilian BMW leading into turn 4. Very strange start to the race, very strange. You think we'll have another look at that at some point, I'm sure. It looked to me as well as if one of the headlights was missing from one of the Audis on the front row, so could there have been contact on the outlap? It's unlikely, but there it is, it's in the pit, so there's been something in the rear, right rear tyre appears to have gone down, which is a total disaster for Cesar Ramos.
Yesterday's winners.
Absolutely.
Problem
in the pits
already.
Before the race even got underway. They never even made the start. They just came straight in the pits.
Up the inside there is Nicky Meyer Melnhof with the red tags to the front corners of the wing in the Audi, but he has dropped a place back as well. One of the SLSs has moved up into second, so we've got, that's the Blancpain Lamborghini is off on the first lap as well. Hayek at the wheel of that. Peter Cox did well to get it right up towards the front of the order. At the moment it's Ramos. Then Meyer Melnhof, Jimenez. That was as they came over the last split. I think the order's changed since then. There's the car with the missing headlight.
That's the Gregory Gilbert car shared with Stefano Telli. But the Mercedes SLS has gone through into second place on the opening lap. And it is Maximilian Buk behind the wheel of the Mercedes, and we know what Maximilian Buk is capable of doing when it comes to winning races. Won a bunch of races, both endurance and sprint in 2013. But it is Sergio Jimenez who's got the lead just under a second ahead of the Mercedes-Benz. And I spoke to Cacabueno. I said, can you get the BMW ahead of the two Audis? And I wasn't persuaded that he was persuaded, but no, because of the problem on the start for the pole position sitting Audi of Carlos Ramos. That was a clear run for the Brazilian BMW to get up the inside of Nicky Meyer Melnhof in the Phoenix Racing Audi.
Towards the back of the field, Stumpf, Project and Eid have already started making their way up, and that is a move there from Stumpf up the inside of Project. So good job by them. Zanardi also has made progress, he's in 10th. But the race continues to be led by Jimenez. Great start from them from the second row. As we say, the winning car from yesterday, Cesar Ramos, pulled off. So Ramos and Lawrence Van Thor, clear winners yesterday, destroyed the field yesterday. Unfortunately, have had their own chances of taking a victory in the main race today. Destroyed on the first lap.
So going to be a big pressure coming from Maximilian Buk, runs wide to get the run off turn 5, to try and get under the rear wing of the BMW coming through turn 6, and then to try and make a move on that straight down into turn 7. But make no mistake, we're not going to see Sergio Jimenez open the door and say, well, look, there is the challenge. Book's now having to go to the left. He can brake a little bit later because he's got a slightly easier, and he's made it.
Carrying the speed all the way around the outside.
Now,
Another right-hander to follow.
He's done it. Absolutely. Copybook overtake. Great driving by the young German to put himself ahead of the Brazilian and the BMW, and that was just good thinking from a young racing driver, knowing how to make his car work for him.
Look at that, John, laying down dark lines on the exit of turn 2. In the background, keep your eyes out for the battle between Gilver and Meyer Melnhof. Gilver looks to have the better speed to me. Meyer Melnhof, that bonnet looks loose, John. It's getting looser and looser. Gilver having a look up the inside. Is he going to make the pass? He's on the inside, but no, he has the door shut.
And Meyer Melnhof had to brake late, not ideally on the racing line, but up the inside. So great move indeed. What a superb move by Gregory Gilbert. And Nicky Meyer Melnhof caught either completely unawares or he has got a problem. Again, runs the car really wide at the exit of turn 10, kicks up gravel. Now it's the second of the SLS Mercedes from
Arsenyev, yeah.
So the young Russian driver, hate to say this, Russian to make up another position.
Very good, John. But he is all over the back of Meyer Melnhof. That headlight missing from the opening lap, from the start, we think. Not quite sure why, but maybe we'll get a chat with them later on and find out what's happened to the car, or certainly have a closer look when it comes in for its driver change. I'm sure the team will be keen to see it up close, John.
I just wonder how much bearing it's having on the car's handling. You've lost a headlight, so there will be an aerodynamic effect. There's also going to be an aerodynamic effect from the bonnet. The left side of the bonnet is flapping. So Nicky Meyer Melnhof's car is not in 100% condition. As we sit back and look at the team, they're having quite a nice day. All they need now is a bit of sand that could be at the beach.
Gilbert coming around the outside. Can he make a similar move to Book earlier on in the race? John, you mentioned this corner's got quite a heavy camber on it. I think he might be opening the door though. He's been run right out over the curbs.
And again makes Gilbert vulnerable to the second of the Audi's Meyer Melnhof. Now you can see the Mercedes getting challenged from behind by the young Liziski in the Silver Cup car. So the pace of Jimenez dropped right away. The potential of the cars behind are probably at least a second a lap quicker, but they've got to find the way past.
Book has gone 2 seconds faster on the last lap than this train of cars, so a 1:27.7 from the race leader and a 1:29.8 from Jimenez in second. The gap's gone up by 2 seconds in 1 lap, John. So Jimenez is really struggling, but so far he's managed to hold them off. Gilbert completes another lap behind Jimenez. Will he wait for the straight?
Well, he's got little choice, because what Jimenez is doing is using the clear air to his maximum benefit and effect. So he can slow the cars behind him by being slow into a corner, then accelerating off and opening up the gap. The area where he is vulnerable is the area that they're going to approach at the exit of turn 5, where they're entering now. And that's where Gregory Gilbert has got to position himself to get a better run off turn 5 and carry that momentum. He's right again on the gearbox or the rear wing of the BMW. You can't see the Audi. That's how close he is. He's going to have to go to the left again, because Jimenez is not going to concede the inside. He's up alongside, but he wasn't on the last lap. Now he's got a chance. No better in reality than it was 1 lap ago. And again, Jimenez able to defend.
This reminds me exactly of the situation. Oh, and up the inside, Gilbert up the inside of Jimenez. Job done. No problem at all.
And that was a good piece of driving by Gilbert. He couldn't get it done at the end of the straight. Maybe Jimenez relaxed a little bit, thinking, I've got it under control. And then the Audi just stuck his nose down the inside into turn 10. And there we are.
On board with Alex Zanardi.
Again, the unique steering and throttle mechanism, all designed and manufactured to enable Alex Zanardi to go racing. He still brakes with one of his prosthetics legs, but he doesn't have the articulation to have a throttle foot, the right foot, so it's all now attached to the rear of the steering wheel. In the dry, much easier. In the wet was quite a handful, I could see.
And the bonnet is up. The bonnet is up on Meyer Melnhof. The front, it's gone, completely gone. Bodywork flapping. I wonder if he's going to get black flagged on it. Of course, left-hand drive. Here we are.
Look and see, just onto the straight, pulls out from behind the BMW. Watch there, it goes up like a kite. Where does it land? It might well land. Well, there it lands, and on the grass. Thankfully, didn't land on another car. So we will have to see whether there will be any form of requirement for the team to bring that car in, as long as there's nothing else dangerous. But there is still a part.
The piece of bodywork. And also, John, as I was saying, he's sitting on the left-hand side of the car. Of course, you do look through the side window, don't you, as you're turning into corners. That's going to be hindering him being able to see at turning points, to sight apexes, surely.
Yeah,
On, yeah,
up the
and
inside.
straight up the inside. No problem there at all.
And in fact, he's getting challenged by Ziski in the Silver Cup Audi, so Nicky Meyer-Melnhof looks like he's got major problems. And just watching him through the right-hand corners, no problem, as you pointed out. Through the left-hand corner, he won't have the accuracy or the precision to place his car, and that will hinder him here. This is a critical corner, probably the key corner on the circuit. The turn 5, the exit of that to get onto this back straight. But this is the battle now. And the Mercedes
pulls out.
He's going to be in a good position. Can he make it work around the outside?
Too late, I think. Jimenez is going to be able to push him wide.
His first car in, and it is the race leader, Maximilian Buch.
Literally, John, 8 seconds after the pit windows open, they are in. So, okay, so Gilbert has decided against that and has gone on. So let's see how long Gilbert, he might go right to the end of the pit window. The gull wing door is up on the SLS. We're looking at Jimenez and Afaseniev.
And so Jimenez is coming in, so Cacabueno's going to take over that. And also Meyer-Melnhof, a late cut in. So 4th, 5th, 7th, all coming in. Quite surprised that this car, the lead car, should come in at the earliest opportunity. Principally because Maximilian Buch, he was no challenge. In my view, he could have stayed out until the very end of the 10-minute pit stop window. Now a problem getting the Mercedes rolling. So Max Goetz loses a little bit of time, and he's going to have to follow that chain of cars.
Looking down the list, more than half of the field has pitted.
And still the lead Audi stays out as we see
on board with
minutes
Gilbert.
remaining.
Race leader at the moment. Looks comfortable. There is our car with all the damage. Melnhof was at the wheel of that before.
Yeah, it was Marcus Winkelhock behind it now, and he's chasing the Silver Cup car, and that
Lisowski. I'm surprised he didn't pull the broken bodywork off, John. Here's a look at that. So Lisowski on the right-hand side, and I'd say that was a let me through job, wasn't it? No problem.
Certainly, the Silver Cup Audi has got the pace. They've got a car also in a much better overall condition. So, at some point you have to think, what's the smart thing to do? Let them go.
2 minutes 40 left. Gilbert is either going to have to come in on this lap or the next. Looking down into the distance at the pit entry. Going to see Gilbert in or not. Around the right and then the left. He'll either peel off tight to the left and get into the pits, or he'll go for it. And he does. Not going to take the extra lap.
No,
so now there goes Götz down the straight.
Oh, he's coming.
He's done it.
He's in the lead.
He's
through.
into the lead.
So we now see the car being taken over.
What's the gap going to be? That's what it was about 8.5 seconds beforehand. I think it's a lot less than that now, John.
Well, Stefano Telli behind the wheel of that car, so it's going to be around sort of 6 to 10 seconds, anywhere in between, I suspect. But Stefano Telli will be absolutely on it as hard as he knows how. In a car he's won here. Nogaro in. Oh, and it makes a mistake into turn 5, just trying a little bit too hard. So he had to turn away from the apex. He just sensed there was something not quite right. But there is the lead car now. There is the second car behind. And I would say that's probably close to 6, maybe 5.5, 6 seconds. Let's look again and see. And that was a little mistake up on turn 1. Zanardi he didn't have to be asked once. No. Didn't have to be asked twice. And that is what you get with Alex Zanardi. On board with PK, and then the exit of 14 onto the start-finish straight, and it's not a very long start-finish straight. Before then you have to sort of get into line to go through, but there's a quick left-hand corner, and immediately you're in the corner, then you're thinking about getting off the brakes, repositioning the car, and then turning to the right. And if you get it wrong at all, was that a bang in the rear? Was that?
No, I think big sideways on the exit, looking to see what the gap was behind him. Well, it's not much, to be fair. The car behind is only 6/10 back, so it could have been contact, but very sideways either way.
Coming down the straight, see the lights flashing. This time he has a little look down the inside, but again, not sufficiently alongside to be able to control the corner. As we look at the back of the Lamborghini, and this is from on board, that's the Z4, it's the BMW. This is a separate battle that's taking place.
This is that's on board with Matthias Stumpf.
Yeah, well, that's
looking at the back of Bleekemolen, having a little look up the inside. There are those three: Bleekemolen, PK Jr., who's taken a little bit of time off him on each lap. In fact, a lot in the last 2 3/10 and 2/10. Behind them now, Rast looking like he can't really do anything about it, but still impressive for those three. Oh, Rast drops a wheel off on the grass.
Yeah, he does drop a wheel off and does a bit of rallycross in the process of getting it back onto the circuit as we go back to this battle.
Down the straight, Dusseldorf further back now from Abril. Oh, and inside, Abril round the inside. And it looks as though Breno's going to try and cut back, but I think he's going to... No, they're alongside each other. Job done. Job done just when we thought that all was settled. Bueno has relaxed just a little bit too much, and Abril has gone up into third place.
Well, great pass, and now Steph Dusseldorf also. He's seen what's happened. He wants to force the issue with the Brazilian BMW. What a great drive by Abril just to make that opportunity. And, well, there's the pits and the Brazilian pits. They can't believe it.
Here's a replay up the inside. It really did make that look quite easy. Bueno didn't take a defensive line. I thought he was going to be able to get the cut back. Caught there, slightly irritated. Oh, and around the outside now, Bueno defending for Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf's done it on the brakes. So Dusseldorf passes Bueno as well. Bueno's right underneath the rear end of the SLS. Almost contact between the SLS, twitches through the right-hander. Bueno would love to get this place back, but that's twice at the end of the straight. The BMW's done very well, I think, to hold off various different attacks through the race. It didn't look like they quite had the pace of the Audis and the SLSs. They did a great job, hard to pass. We saw that last year with Sebastian Loeb. It's very, very difficult to put a pass in. Nearly always happens at the end of the straight. Yesterday we saw some carnage. We saw cars being overtaken left, right and centre, but no problems for these two. Gotts is coming around towards the end of the lap. Ortelli isn't near enough to make a move on him. Through the last corner, it's the two Maxes, Buch and Gotts, who take the win in the SLS. Great job by them in the main race here at Nogaro. The first round of the Blancpain Sprint Series. Gilbert and Ortelli, with that long first stint from Gilbert, crossed the line in second place. Third place now, we're waiting to see who it's going to be. It was Abril, his teammate was Lizowski, and I think they're going to get it done. They certainly are. Dusseldorf is too far back in the SLS. Unless Abril makes a real hash of the last couple of turns. It's a brilliant result for those two. Yesterday they stood on top of the podium for the Silver Cup. Today they stand on third on the podium overall. A brilliant drive from Lizowski and Abril. Some cracking overtaking right at the end of the race. Dusseldorf finishes in fourth, and Bueno comes across the line in fifth. The door up on the SLS. Very, very happy indeed. There's a look at the man who took the checkered flag. Gosh, and he couldn't be more pleased, could he? He's over the moon. Jumps out of the car. Two guys who are very, very happy with a great result. Absolutely brilliant job. Buch and Gotts over to hug the team. Job done. There was some pressure there too. Let's not forget Ortelli was piling it on. They didn't let him get within that crucial striking distance. Really, really pleased as well with second place. We're going to have a little chat now with Buch, who of course was one of that winning partnership.
Maximilian, but you started this race, did you ever think you'd be standing on the winner's podium?
To be honest, no, because we were not expecting to be that fast at the beginning, because my stint, the opening was quite well. And yeah, I was able to manage a big gap for Maxi, and he was also fabulous to drive and was amazing.
Maximilian Gotts, very early pit stop. Your teammate brought it into the earliest opportunity. What reason was that?
Yeah, we saved new tires from the qualifying and practice, so we get new tires on the car, and we tried everything to push hard in the beginning. And in front of us it was free, so we decided to stop early. He did a very good job, Max. We had a big gap before the pit stop. We know that Audi is a little bit faster, so we didn't know exactly what's going on after the pit stop, but in the end the team managed the pit stop very well. I could survive in the last 30 minutes, and it was perfect weekend for us.
Well done, guys. Good drive.
Here it is, the overall result after an hour of racing. Only 1.7 seconds between those top two. The Mercedes-Benz SLS from HTP Motorsport of Buch and Gotts taking the win from the Audi R8 of Gilbert and Ortelli. Third place, another Audi R8, Lizowski and Abril. Great job by the top three. Afaseniev and Dusseldorf, of course, managing to get the pass done on Bueno at the end of the race. Bleekemolen and Rast making their way up from the back of the grid, having been pushed right down after their problems yesterday, of course, Prochik was pushed off into the gravel, and Eid and Ras were disqualified. So coming from the very last positions to 6th and 7th, I think is a result worthy of a good mention. Zanardi 13th, struggled a little bit in the wet yesterday, got his head around it in the end. Lloyd was very fast this morning in morning warm-up in the McLaren, but once the conditions warmed up, sun came out, it wasn't quite underneath them. Fantastic crowd here at Nogaro for the Cuda Pack Easter weekend meeting. Great result for Buch and Gotts. Top step of the podium. John, they seem pretty happy with that, didn't they? Here's a look then. And there, in fact, was the number 1 car peeling off. You could see the rear end stepped out. We knew there was a puncture damage on the front corner. And into the first couple of laps, the lead being held by the BMW. Passed in the end, Gilbert. The SLS was off into the distance. There were battles throughout the field and throughout the race. There was the moment at which Meyer Melnhoff's bonnet disappeared, and in fact, Winkelhock retired that car. In the second part of the race, quick look on board at Alex Zanardi. A brilliant race right the way through to the checkered flag. Out and over the grass. Good driver change. No problems at all for Buch and Gotts. This was later on in the race. Bueno was mugged by a Brill right at the dying stages, and unfortunately they did drop 1 more place back. But a win for Buch and Gotts at this first round of the Blancpain Sprint Series. It's been a fantastic weekend. My thanks to John Watson. My name is Andrew Coley. The next round is at Brands Hatch in 4 weeks' time. We hope you'll join us then.